XRP has been going parabolic, now up 24%.
That's right, Janet, and I'm gonna catch you up onto why it went parabolic, what all the big top dogs are saying about XRP so you don't miss out, cut out all the fluff and banter so that we just get to the information, what the future holds for the XRP lawsuit, and we could talk about my opinions on whether or not it's a good buy. If you're new to this channel, my name is Aaron. I'm just a cowboy exploring the wild west of cryptocurrency. If you wanna roll with us, hit the saloon. And if you don't know what XRP does, for lizard brain simplicity, XRP is a network for banks to transfer and send money to each other, and what it does, it cuts down on cost and time. Things that would take 8 days to clear, now clear instantly. XRP is becoming the bank's financial network of choice, and it's already being adopted by hundreds of banks, by Japan, and by the World Economic Forum. Let's get to the first clip. This is the CEO of Ripple sharing what he thinks why XRP is going up.
Why you think that this jump in price is happening? What news can you give us?
Right. No, but the judge said is, one, the SEC is being hypocritical,
yes,
and two, they said that they were not following a faithful allegiance to the law in pursuit of an outcome. And I think that's what we have here. We have the SEC, I think, has kind of lost its way. I said yesterday on stage, I think it's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
I was going to ask you that. I mean,
I just think we have to remember the SEC gets its power from statutes passed by Congress. Congress gives the SEC power. The SEC can't just take power. What the power says today for the 1933 Securities Act said that you have to have an investment contract. So as you'll see in our motion for summary judgment, the first step of determining it could XRP be a security is you have to have an investment contract. And our point is Ripple doesn't have a contract. With whom is the contract? It's not a written contract, it's not an oral contract, it's not an implicit contract.
So where we are right now in the case?
The judge in this case has ruled 5 different times that the notes associated with that infamous speech we're talking about should be turned over to Ripple.
And they didn't
we
want to
still
do
don't
it.
have them.
You still
we still don't have them.
So the case, she's going to make a decision on whether it goes to trial or not, or whether she'll just rule from the bench, right? So
yeah, I think we expect that there won't be a trial because trials and juries are really to determine if there's uncertainty about facts.
Right.
The facts here really aren't very much dispute. The law is in dispute.
You think she's going to?
We think she has the information to make a ruling, and we think it's very clear that the SEC is grossly overreaching their authority.
Garlinghouse is basically saying that the SEC is overreaching their authority. They're saying that they have contracts out with people, and he's like, who's my contract with? You tell me. So if you didn't know, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, is trying to regulate crypto, and they're using Ripple as its main target. And what they're trying to protect from is people who are insiders, early adopters, who could take advantage of retail investors coming in. But there is a small problem with how SEC regulates cryptocurrency, as Senator Toomey points out.
I think the problem is that the SEC isn't sharing with us the framework that they're using. Gary Gensler famously argues that virtually all crypto tokens are securities. I think reasonable people can disagree with that. He would exempt Bitcoin from that classification, but pretty much everything else he says is a security. But then he doesn't go on to say how we would apply the existing frameworks that we use to regulate securities issuance and trading to a very, very new and very different technology where some of these things don't fit, right? Custody rules, clearance rules, these things don't have any application. And he hasn't provided any clarity on that. I think actually Congress should step in and provide some guidance. I think crypto is sufficiently different, even if you want to argue that these tokens are securities. You go ahead and make the argument, but you can't dispute that they're very different from a stock or a bond, and therefore Congress ought to step in and provide a framework. In the meantime, Chairman Gensler owes us much more clarity on how and why he intends to apply SEC regulations.
Senator Toomey, I don't know where you came from, but you're making a lot of sense here. This next clip is his sparring off with the SEC chair, Gary Gensler, and watch him press him with questions, and he's just like...
Is it possible to have a common enterprise if it's something is decentralized? How could I have a common enterprise? I mean, it doesn't isn't centralization necessary to constitute a common enterprise?
You could have some things that are quite open, but still have, if the public is anticipating a profit based upon that common enterprise. So I'm being careful with my words here to be accurate as best I can. The common enterprise, are you relying on a group of individuals? And look, these are not laundromat tokens. There is a group of people that are actually...
You're not answering my question, though. But so let me try it this way. What is it about Bitcoin that causes you to conclude it is not a security?
Well, one is there's no group of individuals in the middle.
Right. It's
there's
decentralized.
no group of individuals in the middle.
Right.
That are basically, and you're not, in essence,
So-
the investing public's not betting on somebody in the middle or 6 people in the middle.
So you're choosing not to use the term decentralized, but that's what you're describing. Decentralization and centralization occurs on a continuum, really, I think. And you've acknowledged that there are tokens, plural, that are not securities. My point is, it is not reasonable to fail to provide clarity, to provide the definition of exactly where on this continuum you have a sufficient common enterprise that it qualifies as a security and where you don't. You've said Bitcoin doesn't. Some of your colleagues have said Ethereum doesn't. But a reasonable developer who wants to comply with this doesn't know where that line is drawn.
Look, I think what we're witnessing here is someone who is in the matrix and wants to defend his position of power and authority, and under the guise of protecting the public, got his money from Ethereum, he's got his friends, his cronies' money from Ethereum. They're not in the Ripple gang, they're not in the Ripple army, so they don't see any mutual benefit. I might be just a conspiracy theorist, but I certainly believe that when people start to try to regulate and push, they're really more self-absorbed, they're really more self-interested than we'd like to think. We'd like to think that they're in that position to protect people like you and me, but what they're actually doing is creating more havoc in the marketplace. They're actually creating more drama. They're creating all of this stuff that's going up and down, and they actually know in the course of all of this, they know when something's going to go up and something's going down, so they could go in and get out, and we can't because we're outsiders and they're insiders. At the end of the day, the SEC versus the XRP lawsuit is much bigger than XRP, even though XRP is like a fantastic opportunity to look in, not financial advice, but it's crypto in general. Like, how are you going to regulate us? And this is kind of my sentiments since the very beginning, actually why I got into cryptocurrency in the first place. I wanted to opt out of these systems. I wanted to opt out of your security and opt out of your protection, opt out of all of that stuff. Okay, so do I think that buying XRP is a good idea? I think XRP is going to win this lawsuit. I think it has massive potential, amazing returns, especially if it goes back to its all-time highs of $3. However, there are certain macro environment things in place still. We still got Russia. So Russia could send over a nuke that tanks everything down. You know, like some nonsense could happen in an election. There's a whole bunch of nonsense that could happen, especially with the Fed still controlling. That's another superpower that's out here controlling things that I don't at all trust. I mean, can we just pause here? Like, why is it that these certain individuals have like so much power and authority and are able to manipulate markets way more than any kind of whale or anyone else? I'm excited for XRP. I'm excited for cryptocurrency. And when we finally have clarity on regulation and what's allowed and what's not allowed, you are here early and you are pre-rich. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.